Okay, we're off to week three now. Week three, we're actually going to be exploring the piano this week in piano music. The next chapter we have in our text is going to be introducing us to piano and lieder. We're going to save lieder for next week. I wanted to continue along with instrumental music. Just due to our discussion of Beethoven and kind of picking up where we left off with that. But this week we're going to explore a little bit about the piano, and particularly a few composers being Chopin, Liszt. We'll talk about Gottschalk, and we'll also talk about Robert Schumann as well, and some of his music. What I want you guys to really pay close attention to this week as you're reading is this idea of the artist as hero, sort of the individual being against society. What we're going to see through the reading online and through the text is that the romantic artist is really kind of becoming a person who's off on an island by themselves. The aristocracy is beginning to pull back from their patronage of the arts like they had before, where the composer and even a musician was in service to someone else through the patronage system, receiving a stipend for being sort of the artist in residence, if you will. And also, so they're moving away from the aristocratic patron being the primary source of income to being someone who's having to really provide for themselves, go out and fend for themselves as an artist. We see this exemplified in Beethoven as being the truly free artist, the one that was not responsible to anyone else, only to his creative endeavors. But that is really going to be what we see in the 19th century artist, is that someone is going to have to fend for themselves. So they do feel like they are isolated from society, and as a result they feel like that they are the only ones that truly possess this creative and artistic nature, and they're the only ones that truly understand what's going on in art. The expanding middle class is going to be really a breeding ground for I guess economic support for them, but they begin to reject that because they feel that the bourgeoisie really does not understand what's going on. They don't have the intellect, the education to understand the depth that they are trying to convey through their art. And so that's kind of pitting them against society. So really in the 19th century artists, we have the individual against society. This is really going to come about, really show itself musically through the concerto, which we have the instrumentalist pitted against the orchestra, the individual against society, if you will. And also in just in piano music in general, we're moving away from the larger forms of classicism, particularly the sonata. Not that that's not going to be used as a musical form, but we're going to see composers actually doing things through nocturnes, and as we see in Chopin doing things through the polonaise and ballades and things like that. So actually moving to other musical forms, other things to help organize their ideas. And we're also going to see this in the romantic concept of programmatic music, of bringing in extra musical ideas in order to help bring across their what's going on inside of them. So really trying to bring about emotional expression, oral poetry, if you will. So we're going to begin to explore piano music this week. I'm going to include a lot of YouTube clips. I say a lot, not that many, probably 4 to 5 to give you an idea of what's going on with piano music. I'm going to include a few pieces by Schubert, particularly from his musical moments pieces, just to give you an idea of what's going on, to hear something a little bit different than what we're going to hear from other pianists in our listening this week. I do want you to pay particular attention to Chopin and Liszt, and those are going to be the ones that that your book will have a lot more about than Schumann and even Mendelssohn. But I want you to pay particular attention to these two. Chopin is really going to be the one that starts off this idea of or really kind of lays the groundwork for piano music in the 19th century. And Liszt is going to be the embodiment of the piano virtuoso. Now Chopin is known as, he is the first great piano virtuoso of the 19th century, or the first piano virtuoso of the 19th century, but Liszt is the one who becomes the rock star piano virtuoso of the 19th century. And this is based on his fascination with Niccolo Paganini, who was the virtuoso violinist who apparently sold his soul to the devil in order to be able to play the way he did. Paganini was very interesting in that he would often, in performances, sort of clip the violin string so that when he was performing, the violin string would actually break during fast passages that he would be performing, and then he would finish it out on the remaining strings into the bewilderment of the audience. Now, this myth that we see of the artist selling his soul to the devil is one that continues on into blues folklore. We see this in the Robert Johnson myth, that he went down to the crossroads there and met the devil, sold his soul in order for him to be able to perform that way. That's a very interesting story that we can discuss a little bit on Wednesday if you want to do so. But that is a myth that's become larger than Robert Johnson in and of itself. But we're talking about 19th century music and not blues. But particularly based on the influence of Paganini, do we have Liszt growing to become the great virtuoso of the 19th century piano. He actually prefers to be, would rather be known as a great composer than a piano virtuoso. But the things that he did on the stage actually influence what pianists do today, particularly the idea of performing from memory. Improvisation was an important part of Liszt's performance. He would often perform excerpts from some of Beethoven's symphonies or even Wagner's operas, but he would oftentimes deviate from what was going on in those movements that he was performing or those excerpts and begin to improvise and do his own thing. And Wagner has even commented on some of these things. Wagner and Liszt were connected. They were great friends, but they were also connected in that Wagner married Liszt's daughter, Cosima. So there's a lot of interesting things going on in the piano music, and this is the age of the piano. The piano is the parlor instrument of the 19th century. And so it's so important that we delve into this week. So I want you to watch the videos. I want you to kind of take some of the excursions in some of the links that I provided to some articles on Wikipedia that I think will give you a little bit more background information and give you some further links if you want to explore that as well. So we'll meet Wednesday and we will discuss piano and the piano virtuoso in the 19th century. Thanks.